When the sweet smell of chocolate entwines with the aroma of engine exhaust, and it's impossible to escape the sounds of drivers cursing a plethora of chicanes, you can only be at one place. Under a tall and proud Belgian sun, the Absolute Beginner League brings Formula Neagle to Circuit Zolder, where it will complete the first half of its 8-race Season 13 schedule. A big diamond cutter hello and welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel and Countdown to Green. Way up in the press box to bring you our words eye view is yours truly, Bill Soup Zahn, joined by my longtime ABL partner, Adam Young. In the director's chair is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting, Joe Peak, armed with cameras located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by GSRC's camera guru, Dougie Beer. As cyberspace flows into your place over these 15 streamy award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to fully appreciate the 45 minutes of simulated Skip Barber racing that you'll see live as it happens right here on GSRC immediately following this countdown. Now, the last time Formula Neagle came to Zolder was back in Season 8, the year of Johan Halberg. The Bushmink Green driver won the driver's crown, the team crown, and also this Zolder race. So, Adam, since it's been a while, how about a refresher course on Zolder?
Yeah, I mean, that predates even me doing the ABL stuff, so it's been a while on that. Well, hey, if you've never been, if you don't have any kind of experience around Zolder, well, don't worry too much about it. I've had to kind of take a refresher course on this place here for myself. Of course, located in Belgium, we're running the alternate layout here for today, which kind of helps straighten out that last chicane. That's going to put the track length at 10 turns at 2.492 miles, 4.011 kilometers. This track was built back in 1963, hosted the F1 Belgian Grand Prix for just a number of years, and of course, layout changes as many European tracks that that's happened here over the last couple decades. It's also, kind of been forgotten about. When you look at Spa, another Belgian track, nobody really thinks about Zolder a whole lot. Well, of course, we are here for today. Now, Soup, one thing that we're going to be keeping an eye out here for today also is the fact that there's sausage curbs that are on this track. They're on the inside of some corners, they're on the outside of some corners, they're in the chicanes, they're high enough to damage these Skip Barber cars. So that's going to be something we're going to be watching here for today. But hey, let's go ahead and take a lap around Zolder in the GSRC Skip Barber car, and I'm sure that's going to be one thing you're going to see on this track.
Alright, I'm Joe Peak in the GSRC Skippy, so let's do a lap around Zolder. Coming down the hill to turn 1, it'll be easy to cause the car to push wide. The apex is very tricky to hit, so expect drivers to not only make passes going in, but coming out when the car ahead botches it. Swing back across the track and lightly brush the brakes to get the car to turn into 2. You can get on the power earlier than you'd think coming out of here, but don't get too greedy. The big sausage curbs on the outside won't play nice with the car if you understeer off the track. 3 is a simple flat-out run, then drift it to the left, and once again, it's just a light brush of the brakes for 4. The important thing here is getting on the gas pedal as soon as you dare, because it's a long run down to the first chicane. You don't want to lose speed on the exit in case the car behind decides to have a go. Now, this chicane is a good place to pass, but you want to get it done before you're into the turn so that you don't have to try to squeeze through too wide. Especially be careful of cutting the corner because a slowdown is going to set you back in the race. From there, it's a nice gentle hill to bring you into the sweeper of 6. You got to make sure to hold to the left to line up your entry into the second chicane. This is probably the most difficult of the 3 because it's got 3 apexes. The first 2 work best if you hug the inside. Then, if you got the line right, the third only needs a tiny lift to power through. The banked corner afterwards is easily flat out and brings you into the next potential passing zone. The hairpin of 8 is a right-hander, so stay to the left and then be sure to spot your brake marker. If you cover off the inside, watch for the driver behind to pull an over-under. On the exit, turn 9 is a little nothing chicane that just kind of weaves the line across the track and doesn't slow you down. The final chicane on the alternate version is much faster than the GP circuit. The car likes to get loose on entry, but hold on, and then if you hit it right, you should be back on the power all the way through the second half. If you kept it on the track and out of the dirt, you'll just want to bring the car back to the right, then cross the line to complete your lap around Zolder.
And there you have a lap around Zolder. And now let's take a lap around the point standings after 3 events. Bush Pink's Errol Num has a pair of wins and a second. Privateer Patrick Fliss has a first, a second, and a third, hence the 6-point advantage for the Roland Estonian over the Slovene machine. The next 3 drivers are all still looking for their first podium, believe it or not. David Third Degree Burns for 2 Stupid Dogs is the best of the lot, while Sea Bottom Racing's Johan Vanderbilt is tied for 4th with the Finn rookie Timo Vaskilampi racing for Wanderlust. Moving to the team championships, last round at Road America, Vincent Breen contributed 25 points for a 3rd place finish. David Burns chipped in 21 for 5th. Those 46 points allowed 2 Stupid Dogs to pull to within 5 of Bush Pink, manned as always by Errol Num and Frederick Neptune. Wanderlust drivers Timo Vaskilampi and Diogo Francisco sit 4th and 9th in the Drivers' Championship. Johan van der Velde and Michel Rugenbrink both hail from Flevoland, a province in the Netherlands that until 1932 was underwater, which explains the team name of Sea Bottom Racing. Here's a little insight, a little history going on there. No explanation needed for Mama Jean Racing. It's been a multi-time champion, always powered by Twan Tran and Bastion Hausman. So, Adam, we've talked about the track, gone over the points. How about we look at the race details?
Yeah, you know, of course, this is season 13. That's right. We've gone 5 seasons without racing here at Zolder. This is round 4 of season 13. It is just flying by, Soup. Already round 4. There are no dropped events here at the Absolute Beginners League. We are going to go 45 minutes here for today. The setups are open now. They do reduce the fuel load in order to try to get us in a pit stop. So we do expect those cars to hit pit road at least once here for today. And there is an 18 instant cap.
Fairly large field here again today. Looks like about 48 drivers coming in. If I can check these, my numbers might be a little bit off. Adam, what's the weather look like today?
Yeah, you know, it feels pretty good out there, that's for sure. Right now, temperature is about 65 degrees. That's going to put the track temperature at 91 underneath that sun. And winds out of the southeast about 4 miles an hour, so wind's not playing too much of a role. Soup, expect the track to be just a touch on the slick side, even though the air temperature is a little bit on the cooler side. But definitely feels like a good Belgian day.
A lot of chicanes here, so it's not going to be quite the draft track that we've seen. Well, certainly like we had the last few times. Road America, certainly everyone was in the tow. A lot of chicanes to break it up, but still some good passing areas, right?
Yeah, several good passing areas, in fact. I mean, pretty much with the way we slow down at this track, anywhere that we see a significant slowdown in one of the chicanes, it's going to open up the passing opportunities. The problem is, Soup, is that you've got to be spot on with those passing opportunities. You almost, especially going into the chicanes, you want to have them completed. These aren't chicanes that you want to go side by side with anybody in, because they're lined with those sausage curves I was talking about at the beginning of the show. And I'll tell you, in my own testing here, in my own dreary memories sometimes of racing here, I don't have the best of luck. That's because sometimes I find those sausage curves, and they are enough to damage these Skip Barber cars, and we'll be watching that here today.
Yeah, between the sausage curves and the incident cap, you got to be careful. Certainly, slowdown penalties always an issue when you race here at Zolder.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those things, too, where, especially if you're going side by side with somebody into one of the chicanes and you realize that, hey, I'm a little hot, it's almost better to go ahead and cut it a little bit and avoid those sausage curves and take the slowdown penalty. But the thing is, though, is that they know about this in the developer world, and they do have high, pretty high cooldown or slowdown penalties here if you do happen to cut chicanes, and it could be a game changer if something like that does happen. But what's the cost going to be? A slowdown penalty or a wrecked race car?
Yeah, not really forgiving as far as how far you can get off track. We were looking at Diogo Francisco there for a minute. He had the second fastest practice time. Now we're on the man who sits at the top of the qualifying chart and the top of the points. That is the Roland Estonian Errol Num, the multi-time champion. He put in his first lap a 1 minute 40 seconds .231. A lot of the top drivers yet to put in a time. There's Patrick Fliss. He's the driver who chases him in the points, coming off a win last time at Road America. Adam, we talk about the nature of the track. This track is technical enough that it should play into Aero Num's hands, where he might be able to get away from the 12 or 13 car train that follows him sometimes.
For sure, and you know, it's with being technical and the fact that we can move around a little bit more, the draft is going to play a role, but not a super big role like we see in a lot of places. He might be able to actually separate himself a little bit. But, you know, you can see Patrick Fliss out there right now, of course, with his trademark smiley face or tongue sticking out helmet. And he's going to be somebody that's going to be hot on Aero Num's trail here for today. Now, one person that we always talk about that is so far, he was kind of deep on the running order as far as practice. He hasn't put in a qualifying time here just yet, but I think he's on track. I need to check on that here. It's Tuan Tran, and he is on track here. In fact, I think he might have just logged his first time. Okay, so now he's going to be 5th quickest on the board, but I have a feeling he won't stay up that high, at least judging by his practice times. But he's also conspicuously missing from that top 5 leaderboard in the points here so far. Has not been Tuan Tran's season there, Soup.
Yep, seems to be a little bit off his game here in season 13. How about we check in on a rookie, currently sits 3rd in qualifying. We're talking about Timo Vascalampi, racing in the number 12 car. Now, Aero Num put in even a faster time. He put in a 140 flat. Vascalampi sitting 3rd, my goodness, a 140.9, almost a full second slower than the points leader.
And it's almost amazing to see that now, Soup, because when we first got into the session here a little while ago, there was already probably about 30 or 40 cars that had put down practice laps. In the top 11 in practice at that point, when I started watching those times, were all within a second of each other. Now to just look at that big gap between the first 7 guys or so, it's actually kind of mind-boggling. I'm hoping that the qualifying here tightens up a little bit, but Aero Num definitely set the speed to beat.
Johan Vanderbilt just finished a lap, put in a 140.522. He currently sits 5th, actually 4th in the qualifying. He's parked on the track right now. He was brave enough to send us in some information. So, Adam, Johan Vanderbilt is going to be our spotlighted driver. What do we know about him?
Yeah, the fan belt. Yeah, that's how we often call him here at GSRC. And you know what? He's also a guy you might hear on GSRC from time to time now. He, of course, races for Sea Bottom Racing. That was a very interesting story, Soup, about Sea Bottom Racing. I love how they got that name. He's ran 47 events here in the Absolute Beginners League. So one of our more prolific guys out there. We always talk about him, love watching him race. He's finished in the top 5, 48% of the time, top 10, 59%. And he's won races back in 5, 6, and 8 those seasons. And Summit Point was his last win in season 8. So, you know, he likes these technical tracks, and he would be a guy to watch out for here today.
He's going to brave the spotlight. You know, a lot of weird things going on there up there in Scandinavia. The Netherlands, they seem to, if they need more geography, they just kind of drain it and make it for themselves. Of course, if you live in Iceland, they're actually building islands up there. So you never know what's going to happen as we look at Floris Bashar. Big field here today as we see 35, 36, 37, 37 drivers with about just a minute and a half left in qualifying. We'll go to the grid here pretty soon. As soon as we think that everyone's got their time in, we always have to hustle through. This being a standing start, which is tradition in the ABL Formula Legal, doesn't give us a lot of time to get through. There's Pierce Cockey with the nickname of Shortville because, well, you probably, if you're new to the series, you can figure it out. He tends to short fill during pits and is notorious for running out of fuel. And his familiar number 23 car number. Let's go ahead now. I think that all the times are in. We don't have to quite hustle through the grid quite as much. We'll take them 10 at a time. Let's see who's on the front row. And it is Aero Num and the man that everyone's been talking about, the Portuguese driver, Diego Francisco. He sits outside of row 1. Row 2 is populated by Patrick Fliss, inside of the fan belt, Johan Vanderbilt. Jus Junk, now there's a name we haven't seen before. The number 13 car sits inside of row 3, flanked by Pierce Cockey. Timo Vascalampi, another rookie, is in the 7th position. Tuan Tran outside of him. And the 5th row is filled by Vincent Brame and Floris Bashar. Adam?
Yeah, going back to 11th position, Henrik Kamara, a guy that we expect big things out of in the future in the ABL. Of course, this is his second season. Liam Quinn, that's a guy's name you'll know here quite a bit. He's starting here in 12th, row 6. David Burns, row 7, alongside him, Nika Roman, Kirk Kroom, and Yal Valverde in 15th and 16th. Bastian Hausman and Rob Adams will make up row 9. Eric Mickey and Paulo Prieto will make up row 10.
Hidden Blackjack. It is Neil Bamber. Boy, we just saw him have a great race the other day in the MX5 World Tour. Luca Furlik, outside of him, the double duck spot. Jochen Lundgren and Irisijos in 23rd and 24th. Hugo Gutierrez in the quarter-century mark inside of Michelle Rugenblink. Kevin Mills and Frederick Neptune, 27th and 28th. The next row is Tom Vanderpoel and Christian Mies.
Going into row 16 here, and 31st position, you will find Tony Hayes. Alongside him will be Washington Louise, Edgar Santinelli, and Thomas Kick making up row 17. Didier Smith and Mikkel Hafadays, and Mikkel not putting in a time here today. And then Lee Bradley in row 19, all alone. I actually do not think he is currently in the session.
You know, just going over some of these names, it seems like it's destiny that Eric Mickey and Christian Mies should be on the same team together. That way could be the team of Mickey Mies. I don't know if this is my plural for Mickey Mouse, I would think.
And another soupism is born.
You know, I promised I would get through the whole season without a Mickey Mouse reference to Eric's name, but I couldn't.
You made it almost halfway.
I did well. All right, all of our attention now will focus back up onto the leaders, Errol Num and Diogo Francisco. This is round number 4, 8 on the schedule. And remember, the beauty of this series, and I can't stress this more, no dropped races. With only 8 races, if you make a mistake, your entire season can end just from one error. We wait for Errol Num. Lights are up. You can hear the engine start to harmonize. You know what to do. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And it is the Roland Estonian Errol Num leading the stampede down into that first left-hand sweeper. Diogo Francisco being challenged by Patrick Fliss. Oh, they almost make contact. Fliss is going to lose a lot of momentum. I think he's going to surrender third position to Johan van der Belt as they go side by side into 2. The rookie behind him, Yush Yonk, back in 5th.
Yeah, Diogo Francisco got a great jump. Looking back through the rest of the field, a couple of guys actually got some pretty good jumps. Some guys did not. One of those guys, Piers Cocky, having a little bit of trouble. But going back to about 20th on back, it is nothing but a hornet's nest soup.
So far, so good, though. Nice and clean as we race through. This is always a good sign. You hate to see a big incident up front. Drivers doing a good job as they go down into the chicanes for the first time. Num still leading the way. Francisco trailing. Oh, Vascalampi's having, and actually as they start to bang up in the back of the chicane, they go through there, a big pile up.
And I'm sitting here watching Vascalampi. He went in side by side with Vincent Brim, hit one of those sausage curbs, and could not keep control of the car after that, ended up in the Armco.
Yeah, excuse me, he was right behind Brim, but then when he went over, the car just got wild on him. Yeah, that's a tough break for him. He was racing in 7th position at the time. He's going to fall far down the list. We look at the front train right now. It is still Num out in front.
Some of those cars in the back that ended up being affected by that was Joachim Lundgren and Rob Adams. So Joachim Lundgren, obviously a name you know here on the broadcast. And, ooh, big wreck going in the back. Luca Fregelik back in 22nd position, car 06. He is on his lid.
Let's see if we can bring this one up for you. This is how quickly things can go south. I didn't see this one, Adam. What are you looking at?
Oh, it looks coming out of one of the chicanes, getting up grabbing a little bit of dirt. He's already damaged from previous incident here, and he is just going to get pretty much break loose and shafted into the concrete. Hits that concrete rear end first and ends up putting him over. So his day is going to be done. So that's add that to the list of cars on the pit road.
Yeah, he was off the pace, and there just wasn't enough room for everyone to get around. We look at now the top three again, looking at Diogo. Now, don't be fooled. He's currently racing. I believe that timing is going to be a little bit off. Is he actually in third? Yes, he is. Actually, he is in third. Those are your top three there. Num, Fliss, and Diogo. Now, we talked about Vanderbilt and the newcomer, Jus Jonk, back there in fifth. Let's round out the back half of your top 10 right now. It's Piers Cocky in sixth. He's being chased down by Tuan Tran. A little bit farther back, Vincent Bream in eighth. Floris Bashar. And then another newcomer, well, he's been around a little bit, in 10th, Kurt Crum.
We go just back past this, the top 10 here. Almost had a big incident a minute ago with David Burns when he was running in 11th. He did exactly, if you join us there in the pre-race show, he ended up getting into one of the chicanes a little bit hot, had to take the slow down in order to miss the sausage curbs, and ended up slowing down an entire pack of about 6 cars. It was amazing. They all stayed off each other.
Just goes to show you how the talent level is really getting so tough here now. David Burns, which is a notorious podium finisher over and over. In fact, that's been his reputation. Still looking for his first podium this season, and currently is buried back in, what would that be now? I guess 13th position. One of the consequences of having GSRC do your broadcast, it keeps bringing in more talent season after season. The ABL, don't be fooled by its name, absolute beginners, but they are welcoming, but they are tough. Looking back here in 24th position, Tom Vanderpoel in a battle right now. That's Kevin Mills and Dieter Schmidt. Vanderpoel now fighting back as he's tries. That's Mills trying to get in there. Hayes and Mills in a battle. In fact, Hayes gets a little bit loose in front of him. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not quite on what we're looking at there. We're at Vanderpoel back in 25th. This is going on just in front. Yeah, it's in the part of the mix. Boy, they continue to battle side by side through the chicane. That's Smith. They make contact, and Vanderpoel, our director, found it. He's got it. Louise, Washington Louise gets into it as well. Our director had the spidey sense tingling on that one. He knew that Tom was in trouble.
You just see just how much those curbs just lifted that car off the ground. That was a perfect angled shot too of just being down low like that and seeing the movement those cars went through.
Collects several drivers. It only pays down to 20, so those drivers were out of the points, but nevertheless they wanted not their day to end that way. Up front,
meanwhile, up front, Patrick Fliss putting the pressure now on Euro Num, and he's having to, because he's having the pressure put on by him, by Diego Francisco and Johan Vanderbilt. So your top 4 right now racing hard.
3 veterans and then a driver in his sophomore season. We're talking about the Portuguese driver. As boys say, look at the accordion effect back up through there. We're talking about Diego Francisco. Very good. He missed last round of Road America. Good to have him back. Racing for Wanderlust Racing, that team up in the team championship as well. They work through this second chicane now. This is all called turn 7. This whole complex around here seems to go on forever. Turleman is the name of it. It's the left-right, it's the right-left-right chicane that actually is in that right sweeping right-hander. Now they go down into 8. Boulderberg.
You gotta wonder if something happened at some point while we were talking about that accident a few minutes ago to our leaders, other than just getting a little racy, because it's like it was a 4-car breakaway, and now we're having to add in Jus Jonk and Piers Cocky back in the mix. So we've got our top 6 cars here that you can, at least here at the track like Zolder, that you could throw a blanket over right now.
Oh, yeah, I think that Cocky and Young are happy to be where they were. It looked like the guys were pulling away in front of them. Then there is a big gap. It's about 2 seconds back to Tran and Graham, who try to make up the ground. Let's go ahead and not press our luck and bring in our driver spotlight here about Johan Vanderbilt, who currently racing in 4th position. Adam, you can see the information there.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, we were talking about earlier him being from the Netherlands, Dronten in the Netherlands. That's a city, and he's a magazine journalist. I did not know that about Johan van der Velde. So just add another journalist out into the iRacing world. And his favorite Disney princess is Rapunzel.
That put Rapunzel into the lead now with 2. I got to figure Rapunzel has the home field advantage, this being mostly so many Norwegians, Dutch drivers and German drivers in this one. And, of course, Rapunzel being a local girl. Around the way girls, we like to say here. Let's go back to 11th position. This is David Burns. Look at these familiar names back here, Adam. There's Hausman in 10th, Burns in 11th, and another driver that we've had our eyes on the last couple seasons, Hendrik Kamara.
Yeah, and Hendrik keeps showing flashes of being able to do something, and then it seems like he has a race or two off. But if there's going to be a day, Soup, that I promise you that he gets the consistency down, and he ends up being a force in this series. I really think that guys like him and Diago, they're going to be challenging. I mean, even more than Diago is here today, but I mean challenging the front runners in this series.
Let's drop back just a few more spots to Liam Quinn in 13th. Talk about some drivers doing some cross-pollination. Liam Quinn was one of the stars yesterday in the ABL, the IndyCar series. They were in the DW12s, racing on an oval. I can't remember where it was, but it was an oval nevertheless. Liam Quinn did very well there. And Neil Bamber, he did some duty, had a great finish in the MX5 World Tour yesterday. And those
Euronum's around. Euronum is around and in the grass.
Coming out of the chicane, this was a self-spin. Nobody to blame but the Roland Estonian himself. He made a mistake. Oh, Adam, you talked about the curbs.
He caught him, and he kept catching that one lap after lap, and I was wondering when it might bite him, and it finally did. I mean, that's the reason why his front wings already kind of bent out of shape and everything. Now we just got to hope it didn't do any more damage than what it did here to his car and the time lost.
Can we look at that maybe one more time from the driver behind? Maybe we can actually see the car get airborne. That would be Patrick Fliss, I believe. Let's take an onboard from Fliss. Is he close enough? There we go. That's Numb up ahead. This will give you an idea of what that car did. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, you're watching the turn of a championship right here. This could be the deciding factor.
Well, right now, I mean, if this race was to end right this second, I think that would definitely give Patrick Fliss the points lead.
Yeah, now don't count out the Roland Estonia. He's fallen back to 8th. What he'll want to do now is just salvage some points.
Well, we've seen him do it before, and
right.
I mean, it's definitely in the realm of possibility. He seems to make up so much time on his pit stops. So, anyway, going back up front, now that Euronum's out of the way, Diago Francisco seeing his opportunity and going after Patrick Fliss.
Yeah, and now the story changes up front. Before, there was really no hurry to put in fast laps. I mean, you're all together. Now, every second you can keep Numb away from you. The faster you go, the faster you keep that, maybe the cream of the crop back there. Look at this battle going on now with Fliss, Francisco, Van der Velde in the mix, and then the driver we don't know much about, Jus Junk, racing in 4th now. Oh my gosh, as they really accordion up through that chicane. Also, you have to wonder if Numb's Skippy has been damaged enough that iRacing will make him take some repairs that he may not need.
We'll have to see. He's certainly driving okay. I didn't see his lap time here this last time. I mean, obviously wouldn't compare because he just had the accident on that last lap. But his car seems to be driving straight at least. Now, down on speed, I don't know. We're going to have to see how he compares to if he gains or loses anything to the leaders here over the course of the next couple of laps. But I did watch him go over that last set of chicanes here one more time, Soup, the first time through after he spun it, and he took him pretty aggressively again and almost lost control again. So I think can't say it very often, but I think Euronum's a little aggravated in the cockpit right now.
Yeah, we continue to look at the leaders, and my gosh, there is no room between Fliss and Diego Francisco. He's right on his tail. We'll give you an interval. We'll stay up here, but let me give you an interval from Bream back to Numb as he tries to run him down right now between 7th and 8th, 1.1 second. Mark that down. We'll see how it plays out. Look at him come at you on that Dougie Beard low-angle camera shot as we pan by. That's the top 5 drivers. They continue to race nose to tail. The last one in the train, Cocky. Cocky's got 4.2 seconds back. We talked about it. Back to Tuan Tran. That try as he might, just can't seem to get the seasoning quite right for season 13. Even a bad taste in his mouth. He races in 6th. On board with Young. Now looking ahead at the 4 drivers in front of him. Let's stay on this for a bit. We'll get a feel for it. Now they head. Now this is the corner. This is This is the one that they've taken some of the steam out of. This little chicane here at 10.
Some of the steam?
Some of just a little bit. Little chip, not quite as I guess that's a little bit of a understatement.
Yeah, it looks easy when you're riding on board here, but I can tell you it's not. And one guy that found out just how hard that is Pierce Cocky. During qualifying, his last lap, trying to come to the line, trying to prove to us that it was not okay to go to the grid, he decided he was going to go ahead and lose control right there, coming to the line and just ravage the rear end of his car. So if you lose it in that corner, it's very high speed. You're going to find yourself in the tires. So it's one place to very well be careful of, because it is high speed for sure. And if you make one small miscalculation, it's going to hurt.
Let's leave that for second, Director. Looks like they're behaving. Let's go back to 7th. We talked about the distance between Vincent Bream and Errol Numb. Well, that's gone now. Numb has got that spot. He moves up into 7th. Bream back into 8th. The car chasing him is Sanchinelli.
He moves up a spot, but he has lost about 0.4 of a second to the leaders in the last 2 laps. So he's definitely down on time to Patrick Fliss and Diego Francisco right now.
Yeah, I think it's a reboot for his expectations of this race. With no longer a win, now it's just how many points, how many positions can I pick up to lessen the pain. Tuan Tran races in 6th, 2.2 seconds ahead of him. Boy, it's interesting. We've seen Tran and Numb race together time after time after time, but I don't ever remember them racing together for 6th. There's the purple and black attack of Tuan Tran. Let's go back to 16th. This is the Strudelmeister, Thomas Kick, being ran down by Kevin Mills. Mills hailing from the UK. Racing in his 452 machine.
I haven't talked too much about these guys today, but they have been running nose and tail pretty much the entire race long. I think they've swapped the position a couple times, and that might be a race that'll continue on here for the duration.
Kick, another driver that we saw in the DW12 yesterday. Meanwhile, Bastian Hausmann, the teammate to Tuan Tran from Mama Jean Racing, comes in to take his first stop with about 30 minutes of racing to go, probably the very front of the window. We continue to look at this close battle. That's Kick being chased by Mills. Let's see if we can stay on this long enough. We'll give him one chance here. Take it all the way around to corner number 1. We'll give Kevin one chance to make this pass. He's got to go through, or we'll take it all the way down into corner number 5, the chicane, down this back straight. Now here's where you're tempted to run off a little bit. There's some time you can pick up out there. Now let's see if he's going to get any type of run. Is he going to force the issue? I don't think so. That car back there, the fluorescent blue machine, I'm going to call it blue. It could be purple. I never really know. He's watching the action. That is Eric Mickey as Mills now makes a run. Going to back up, but here comes Mickey. Great racing for 15th. That's a points-paying position.
Yeah, it's some great racing up front now as well. Just a minute ago, Josh Young tried to make a move on Johan Vanderbilt, dove it in there, but could not complete the pass.
Young probably not familiar with the unwritten rules, which is this: we just race around until we get to the pit stop. Young's saying, yeah, but I have to make a pit stop. I'd rather not pit from fourth in line. If I could, let me pick up a few spots. He's got Johan van der Velde in front of him. Diogo Francisco. Francisco has learned the rules. Took him a while to catch on to how the game is played. Patrick Fliss leading the way. Remember, Fliss only trailed Num by a handful of points. That should be enough for the Slovene machine to, like Adam said, be on the top of the charts when we come back next round. Director, let's go back to 6th again. We'll check in on Tuan Tran. That gap closes now down to 1.1 second. Here comes Errol Num. Take a look at the lap times for Num compared to the rest of them. Num's last lap, a 140.4. Faster than Cocky, faster than Young. In fact, faster than right in the same with all the leaders. Holding ground with them. Tuan Tran actually in about a second faster than Tuan Tran. Let's go back to that battle we were looking at. Side by side. Oh, and they touch. That's a kick. Got together with Mickey. Mickey spins off. Coincidentally enough, Mies gets by. Let's watch this one again. Our director has been Johnny on the spot here. He can feel this one happening. The blue car is kicked. The Strudelmacher dives to the inside. The blue car is Mickey. He makes contact with kick. Mickey spins off. Mills and Mies go around.
Just seems like he got in there just a little bit hot, and I'll tell you that's an easy chicane to go in there a little bit hot into, because you're kind of going downhill a little bit right at the last second, so you don't have a very good sight line going into that corner, and that can resolve in troubles just like that.
So what happens is Mickey's car was crabbing a little bit, so he's going to come in, get that taken care of. The good news is he's in his window. The other three continue to battle on: Kick, Mills, and Mies. Go back up front. Let's check in on that real quick. Fliss, Francisco, van der Velde, Jonk, Cocky.
Every time they go into a slow portion of the track, it's just, they are just, it nose to tail. And I literally mean, like, the front nose cone is right into that gearbox of the car in front.
And Diogo says, I've had enough of this. The Portuguese drivers pulls off. Well,
now, I wonder
goes on. Go ahead.
If those other guys will go ahead and try to come in here this next time by.
Yeah, I wonder if Francisco says, you know, I'm pretty fast. I qualified second. I might be able to run away from you guys. Meanwhile, we talked about Tuan Tran trying to lead Errol Num. Well, that's done. And Num has got around Tran and actually cycles out right. That's Tony Hayes coming out of pit lane. Hayes will get out of the way and let Tran go by. So that's one more position picked up by Errol Num. A few more points put back into his collection for the end of the season. Francisco comes out, and he's going to cycle out in 12th position. But Adam, more importantly, is what's in front of Francisco. And that is nothing.
Right. You know, lots of clear air. It might be a good time for him to be able to make make up some ground on those guys that are still kind of racing together, because I think with the way they've been racing, it's actually kind of slowing him down just a touch. So very interested to see what he can do here alone.
Well, they got Michel Rugenbrink in front of him now. This is something that Fliss does not want. Rugenbrink actually pretty much puts the car down in second gear and lets the guys go by. Any takers for pit lane? No. We'll go around one more time. Let's see what Num and Tran do. They're going to go around. Yep, Num and Tran go around as well, as does Breen. No takers at all. Look back at Burns. He's not going to go in. Nor does Bashar in 9th. Not many drivers left here ahead of Francisco. Neil Bamber does not. And that gets us back to the driver in 11th. This is Hugo Gutierrez. And he's going to keep going. And then that gets us back to Diego Francisco in 12th. The interval between Fliss will actually get the interval. We'll wait for Francisco to go by the start-finish line. We'll get the official time between him and the leader. And it looks like it is going to be 41 seconds, 41.2.
So lap times will be what I'm really curious about here. I mean, with these guys running 46, 42, 43, and we'll see next time around what Diego Francisco is able to do alone once he's clear of his pit out lap.
I just can't help but I know we're harping on the same driver. Can we go back to 5th position? Look what Errol Num has done since he got around Tran and Brim. He's left him behind. Now, the interval between Cocky in 4th and Num in 5th is 7.4 seconds. I just got to figure with 21 minutes of racing to go, 7 seconds is undoable. Or is it?
Well, there's one guy that can get it done.
My gosh, there we look at Tran now. And Bream, 2 veterans of the series. Tran racing for Mama Jean Racing. Bream, of course, teamed up with David Burns for 2 Stupid Dogs. In fact, Burns and Bream run next to each other on the timing and scoring chart, 7th and 8th, but they are separated by 6.5 seconds on the track. Adam, things are settling down up front. They're just trying to put in time.
Ooh, as you said that, Patrick Fliss really kind of caught that curbing. He's not going to lose a spot or anything, but it probably gave him a little bit of a heart attack in the cockpit.
Oh, now we talked about the clear air. Let's go back to 11th position. This is Francisco trying to make it around. Remember, he had all that clear air. Well, he's caught up to the back of Hugo Gutierrez. No blue flag here. This is for position. Oh, my goodness. They head down into the chicane. Get it worked out, boys. He's got it. Boy, look at that Portuguese driver. Even though he had a horrible entry into that first chicane, he was able just to knife his way through.
And it's one of those ones that with as much time as that just cost Diego, like I don't see any spotters logged in with our top 4 right now, but if they would have had somebody in their ear, that would have been the lap to pit, because you knew he was slowed down. You knew it was going to be your best opportunity to get some time back on him.
And that's the disadvantage of the early pit stop, because the drivers that you come up behind are not getting the blue flag. That's in comparison to what Michiel Rosenbrink got when Fliss came up behind him. He just pulled over, let the leaders by. That was a battle for position as far as Gutierrez was concerned, and you know, he probably didn't even realize that Francisco might have even been on a different pit strategy.
Well, he either didn't realize, but he was certainly definitely under no obligation to let him by. So, you know, that right there, it puts you into trouble. And just as I say, puts you into trouble, Johan Vanderbilt does the same thing Patrick Fliss did last lap, and he's going to be under attack here from Yost Young.
Yeah, Young back there waiting for the opportunity, saw the opportunity and seized the opportunity. Move Young up now into 2nd. Vanderbilt back into 3rd. Probably not all that troublesome to the fan belt. He's still close enough to come in and make his stop. Cocky has not led any laps. Vanderbilt has not led any laps. Neither has Young. If anybody's out there burning fuel, it would be Patrick Fliss. One would think his stop would need to be a little bit longer than the guys behind him. Okay, let's go to 17th position right now. We're looking at Quinn and Kamara. That's Kamara working the back of Quinn. Oh, Quinn going off. That's that corner where there's tempting to go out there. You don't lose a lot of speed off there in the sand, but you do pick up those X's, incident points.
You pick up the incident point, but you also pick up a lot of stuff on your tires, and I've seen a lot of guys lose control after putting their wheels off in the gravel after getting back onto the asphalt. The only thing that really happens there when that happens is you go sliding off into that concrete. There is no tire barrier there where you go sliding off. It's full concrete, so you don't want to tempt fate too many times.
Well, these guys battle. I'll just report that Vincent Bream came in for a stop. Oh, here comes the pass. Here he comes. Kamara. Whoa, squirrely, but he's going to get it done. Interesting area to make that pass. He seems a little bit off the pace. I almost wonder. I guess he's fine. Just not quite as aggressive as he was before. Just didn't feel turn 7, so that cost him some ground.
Hey, Soup, one thing I just noticed here, we don't need to go to him necessarily, but I've been watching Euro Num in the lap times, the differential between him and Patrick Fliss, and over the course of about the last 4 or 5 laps, he has gained a second on them. You know, time might run out for him, but he is definitely gaining time and gaining a lot of time.
And again, he may not be thinking to get to Fliss, but that puts the pressure on the rookie of Jonk and Vandevelde and Cocky to make good stops, because he's only about 6.5 seconds back now of Cocky. They go around one more time. All right, here comes Errol Num is coming in to make his first stop. Now the question that we had is, will his stop be quick? Talk about chicanes. You can see that they had one extra chicane when they went to the chicane store. It was buy 3 get 1 free, so they put one in there on pit entry as well.
I think a good marker here for Euro Num, we'll see where he comes out compared to Diago Francisco.
Right.
And because he was running up at the lead pack whenever he came in. So we'll see how many seconds he is, and that should give us an idea where he's going to come out in relation to Patrick Fliss and everything.
There goes Diago past pit lane right now. Num is in his box. There goes Diego. And of course, pit exit here kind of takes you through parts of France and Belgium, or it brings you back out onto the main part of Belgium here. And he does come out behind Francisco, and just about 6.5 seconds. That's about the gap between him and Cocky before he came in. The top 8 drivers still yet to pit. Leaders of all the cars who have pitted: Francisco, Num, and Vincent Bream.
There we go. There's Fliss, there's Jonk, and there's Vandevelde all coming down.
Shartfield going to stay out. That's questionable. I can't imagine that Pierce was that fast that he can afford to stay out. Qualified 6th, but we'll see. All right, now what we'll do, let's try to pick up Diego. Francisco right now working through corner 9. He'll be coming up to the Jackie X chicane. Fliss is in his box. That was Seahas going by. He doesn't count. Fliss is there. Vanderbilt still in there. Young still in there. Who's going to be first out? It's going to be Fliss moving first. Francisco is just going. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be close. This is going to be close. I think Francisco's going to get him. I think he's going to have the momentum. They're going to come out side by side, but Francisco has the car at full song. He has jumped him. Fliss goes down into, well, virtually 2nd position. Vandevelde in 3rd. Look at this. Num beats Jonk out. So he picked up another spot.
Not a good stop at all for Joost Jonk. And really, for that matter, not really Vandevelde either. I mean, he fell off a lot on Patrick Fliss. And right now, it looks like it might be the Diago Francisco and Patrick Fliss show here, depending on what happens with Piers Cocky.
Johan was a second slower in his box. Okay, our leader is coming in. His nickname is Short Phil. If he ever needed to live up to that, it would be right now. He wants a fast one. Where is Fliss, you might ask? Well, he's just working his way between 7 and 8. He's got the lap. No, I'm sorry, it's not Fliss. Of course, we're talking about Diogo. Yeah, Francisco Diogo. Diogo now heading towards the Jackie X chicane. Cocky may not be fastest, but he doesn't want to lose touch with all the guys. He sits in his box. Oh, Cocky, incredibly slow.
I hate to say it, but I think we can factor Piers Cocky out of this thing now.
Francisco is by. Fliss is by.
He is finally rolling.
Vanderbilt, maybe a speeding penalty, and that's just another position for Errol Num. As now Num has got around Jost Jonk and Piers Cocky. Of course, you got Vincent Brame earlier, David Burns, Tuan Tran, making up those points. So, Adam, everybody's pitted now. Let's catch our breath and run down where we stand. On the front, it is Diogo Francisco. He's being challenged by Patrick Fliss right now. Ahead of him is Tony Hayes. That's a lap car. Let's not do the rundown quite yet because I got a hunch that Fliss is ready to make a pass. We'll stay on these two for a moment because they got the lap car, which always makes it interesting, and sure enough, he gets checked up. Francisco tried to go around the outside. It did not work. There was no room there. Here comes Fliss. Takes the opportunity that traffic offered. Fliss, our new leader. Diogo Francisco back to second. Now, it's 4 seconds back to Johan Vanderbilt in third. Then he's 1.9 seconds ahead of Errol Num with 10 minutes of racing to go. I think Num has a chance at a podium. Jost Jonk is behind him in fifth. Adam, who do you got in sixth position?
We're going back to 6. We'll find Vincent Brame. You know, Vincent hasn't had a perfect race, but he's been able to hang in there, and should be able to get a solid top 10 as long as everything finishes out fine for him. And going back to 7th position, though, Soup, that's where we find Piers Cocky, and that's where Piers Cocky settled into after that really long pit stop. So that's not where he wanted to be for sure. We move on to David Third Degree Burns. David Burns right now running in 8th position. He's up 5 positions from where he started. Started a lot further down than where he wanted to here for today, but trying to do the most that he can with it and trying to make at least get a few points and stay in that points race. Bastian Hausman was going to run 9th here this afternoon so far. Bastian started back in 17th position, so he is up 8 spots from the start of this race. And in 10th, you'll find Neil Bamber.
Well, this is going. We'll continue our rundown. Just report that Fliss is being hounded by Francisco, but they maintain in order. Bamber having a great run. You talked about him. My goodness, he is up several spots. 11th position. That is Floris Bashar, right behind Bamber, trying to get that back. Then you got to go back a little bit to Hendrik Kamara in 12th position, and another 5 seconds before you find Liam Quinn in 13th. He's got a whopping 12 seconds before you get to Hugo Gutierrez. Behind him is Didier Smith, but that's not for position. You got to go way back to the Strudermeister, Thomas Kick in 15th. Why don't we round out the last 5? Those are all the points-paying positions. Adam? 16th?
Yeah, going back to 16th position, you'll find Christian Mies. And Christian, I think, might be our biggest mover here for today. Up 14 spots. He started in 30th. He's just done his best to keep a clean car and has avoided a couple incidents along the way. Michelle Rugenbrink started in 26th, now up to 17th position, and going over to Mikhail Hoffendazen. Now, Mikhail started this thing, I believe, shotgun on the field. So he would actually be our biggest mover here, moving up 19 spots, and another just keeping the car clean. And, you know, Hoffendazen is one of those guys that we know can run up front when he wants to, but I think decided discretion was a better part of valor after a couple of bad luck races. Ari Seahas running in 19th position. Airy started in 24, so up a couple of spots. See a little bit of damage. That happened just the first couple laps of the race to him. And then in 20th position, you saw him a minute ago. He was the lap car on the outside there that you almost had that incident there with Patrick Fliss and Diego Francisco. That would be Tony Hayes.
Seahawks and Tony Hayes, both one lap down in 19th and 20th. Hoffler Dason, the last car on the lead lap in 18th. Adam doing most of that just on in his head there. He did a pretty good job, but I know the fans and friends of Thomas Kick would yell out, Thomas Kick is actually our hard charger, up 20 positions.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, but you did really well, though. We were all impressed here at GSRC. To be honest with you, I have the benefit of this wonderful timing scoring in front of me that tells me all this stuff. All right, let's go back to the lead now. And with 7 minutes of racing to go, a lot of our attention is going to be focused up here. Patrick Fliss and Diego Francisco. Talk about doing things off the top of my head. I know Fliss has several wins. I do not think the Portuguese driver has yet to pick up a victory. A lot of talk preseason that he was the guy to watch, and that certainly is playing out right now. What's up? Oh, how about we go to third position?
Yeah, I was just
getting ready to tell you,
Stu. I think we can move Euro Numb into a podium spot after his self-spin earlier. We knew he might be a factor at some point. Yeah, he's making his presence known.
I don't think we need to go to the replay on that one, Director, but yes, it was just it was fun to watch. I don't know if we caught any of those passes on camera from Numb. He just did it so quickly. Surprised us all. Is there any chance of him making up the 4.5 seconds to Francisco? No, not with 6 minutes of racing to go.
There'd have to be a pretty intense battle developed between those two in order for that to happen. I don't see it happening, but you never know. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but he's going to need some help.
Boy, in that long angle, you can see all 5 cars there in the same shot for a minute. We're looking at the 3 that are racing for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's Numb, Vandevelde, and Just Jonk. How about Jonk? Good job from him. Yeah, he lost touch with the guys up front, but nevertheless going to come home in 5th. Maybe wouldn't mind hearing from Just if you wanted to come in and talk to us in the post-race interview. We'll have to do it quick today as GSRC has a very busy schedule. Why don't we take a second and just enjoy some quality racing up here from Patrick Fliss and Diego Francisco. With just under 5 minutes of racing to go, don't think anything's going to happen for a while. You can see Fliss opened up a little bit of a lead. How did they qualify? Patrick's your pole sitter. Diego Francisco started outside of him on row 1. We don't need to go there, but Didier Smith just had an off. He put that car in the wall. He was racing outside the points in 26th position at the time of the spin. Adam, you look at the attrition and how many cars are on the lead lap. 17 lead lap cars, really not a really high number for this field. You think it'd be bigger than that?
It really isn't. I think that could be contributed to 2 things. One, just how technical of a track this is, how small the margins of error are because of the technicality of the track, and also the fact that it's not really a draft track. I mean, it is, but it's not. I mean, really, any track's a draft track here in Skip Barber is we're looking at Diego Francisco getting a little bit of a run here on Patrick Fliss. So that allows the field to spread out a little bit more, for some cars to fall off the lead lap a little bit. But you look at guys like Edgar Sancinelli, who's really only running a couple seconds off the leader's time up until he knocked the front body work off his car. So keeping it clean here today, the car is clean. It's been hard.
All right, here comes the Portuguese driver looking to make a move. Cannot find it. Oh, he's got a good run here, though. Let's see what kind of line that Fliss takes. He's going to leave the inside open if he wants it. And you can hear on board, you can hear the engine, you can hear the Diego lift the car.
Soup, I think right now he is pulling a strategy you'd almost find on a restrictor plate track for an oval car. He is not trying to pass him so early that Patrick Fliss would get an opportunity to get past him back, if the opportunity presented itself. I think he is waiting until the last lap at this point to make that move.
And talk about waiting, I don't think there's enough time out of the final chicane. The start-finish line is pretty well close on the on that main straight. I almost got to think if you're going to make a pass, it's almost got to be into that first chicane, out of 4 to 5, and then play defense from there. Maybe even into corner 1, and then try to defend the entire last lap.
Well, we're going to find out.
Well, here he is.
We're coming to the white flag, I think, here. Well, no, we might be able to get 2 more laps out of this. Okay, so next time by should be the white flag.
And with that said, Fliss takes the defensive line into 1. Now, Neagle's going to get a good run out of 1. They go through this sweeping 2-3 complex, which is a right-hander that never seems to end.
See, that right there, that is a corner that you might be able to make that outside move if you really wanted to try. And Diego just backed off and slipped back in behind Patrick Fliss. I think he's waiting. I really do.
Doesn't look like he's going to attack this time. We'll think he'll get one more bite of this corner. Now he drops farther back. You got to be careful not to make a mistake and lose touch. Fliss trying to be perfect. The Slovene machine, smooth as blended whiskey. Out of 7. Heading to 8. He's opened up a little bit of a gap now. That's got to be a little worrisome to Francisco. Accordion up through 9. Through this chicane, which isn't much of one, just a little dart, point and shoot. And I'd say as they get the white flag this time, Francisco might be in trouble.
I think he's lagging off. I think he's gonna do something here.
Through 2.
But he's got to have a good next couple of corners to still have a shot. He's got to be smooth as butter.
Yeah, this next one, this right-hander is really important. This might be his best opportunity. If he can get a run, get in the toe, force the issue. He takes it wide into the sand, driving really hard. He's about 5 car lengths back. About 4 car lengths back. He's not going to get close enough before the chicane. That was maybe his best passing opportunity before the checkered flag. One more technical section to go. Through 7. The right.
He's right there.
Yeah, he's there now. Is there enough time between 8? Can he make it? Can he force the issue into 8? Get to the inside. He's got a possibility. Fliss takes the defensive line. Here comes Francisco on the outside. Not going to be able to do it. A little hokey-doke, little huckle-buck underneath. Not going to happen. The start-finish line is going to come quick once they get through the chicane. Francisco going to the outside, trying to force him down. He might get a good run out of here. There might be enough time. He's a half a car length back. Here comes the start-finish line. He dives to the inside. No, it's going to go to Patrick Fliss. Francisco gets 2nd. Num gets 3rd. Vanderbilt 4th.
Half a car length, 51 thousandths of a second.
Let's go back. There's a battle back here. Let's go back to Bashar. This is a battle for 10th. Bashar and Bamber. Bashar out in front. Pretty much this is the same show we just saw. They head down to the chicane. Now what Francisco did was get to the outside and get a run. Not going to happen there. It doesn't look like Bamber's going to have anything for Bashar. Bashar's going to come home inside the top 10. Bamber will have to settle for 11th. One more battle on the track. Is it Hofladaisen? And Hofladaisen is too far on lap 17, and yeah, it's not going to happen. 17th position, and Rugenbrink, those two teammates will come home in that position. Let's go to break right now on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be back to bring you driver interviews, run down the standings, and close up shop. Sanctioned by the Absolute Beginner League. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel's coverage of Formula Neagle. Round 4 from Zolder. The results are in the books. Let's bring you those results right now. The winner coming home 5/1000ths of a second ahead of Diego Francisco was Patrick Fliss. Francisco has to settle for second. Errol Num salvages a third place after a mistake early from the lead. Johan Vandeveld and Joost Junk finished 4th and 5th, rounding out the back half of your top 10, Vincent Breen, David Third Degree Burns, Pierce Cocky, Bastian Hausman, and Forrest Bashar. Adam?
Yeah, going over to 11th position, you'll find Bambi, Neil Bamber, coming home in 12th, Henrik Kamara. Henrik ran in 12th, a pretty good chunk of the back half of the race. Hugo Hernandez Gutierrez coming home in 13th, Thomas Kick 14th, Christian Nies 15th, Mikael Hofladaisen in 16th position after starting nearly last in the field, Michelle Rugenbrink in 17th, Ari Seahas in 18th, Kevin Mills 19th, and Washington Louise in 20th.
Seahas, Mills, and Louise all 1 lap down. Everybody else 2 laps down or more. Tony Hayes in the blackjack spot, Edgar Sansanelli in the double position, Nico Roman, Liam Quinn, the quarter-century mark. That would be Tuan Tran, no points for you. Peter Smith in 26th position, 28th, 29th, 30th goes to Eric Mickey, Tom Vandepoel, Kurt Crum, and Paulo Preto. Adam?
In 31st position, Johan Lundgren, Luca Freilich in 32nd, Timu Vascalampi in 33rd, 34th is going to go to Yao Valverde, Rob Adams in 35th, Frederick Neptune in 36th, and Lee Bradley in 38th. I don't believe Frederick Neptune or Lee Bradley took the grid here today.
We have our race winner available for an interview. Let's bring him in right now. It is Patrick Fliss. He won last round. He wins here again today. But it wasn't Errol Num that was pressuring you. It was the Portuguese driver, Diego Francisco. Patrick, boy, he gave you everything you could ask for.
Oh, yeah, that was a really fun race.
Going into that last lap, you could see that the lead was opening up. We were wondering if you were saving a little bit and we're just going to close it out easily, but he was able to close in at the end.
Yeah, I actually took 2 laps too much of fuel, so maybe I could even run away from the pit stops, maybe not, but yeah.
Did you happen when you were back there and you saw, I know you never wish ill on anybody, but you saw Errol Num spin and you go, okay, well, that's at least one less guy I have to worry about.
Well, yeah, of course, it did put a little smile on my face, I'm not gonna lie. It's a shame for him, but yeah.
Well, you'll enjoy the rerun of the broadcast because he put on quite a show coming back to get that third place position. Hey, congratulations on the win today. We guess that you're going to be close to the lead, if not in the lead. We'll see you down the road for the back half of season 13.
Yeah, just want to say I'm pretty happy with the race since I had to drive like a English lady drinks her tea with my pinky up because it's broken.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. Well, you certainly know how to race in pain, so that's just, I guess, between a pinky and a back, we'll take the pinky. Hey, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. See ya.
Patrick Fliss. If he hurt his pinky on a motorcycle, I give him no sympathy at all. Let's go to Adam. You want to try to talk to our second place finisher here, Diego Francisco?
Yeah, Diego. Hey, great drive here for today. Tell us about that last lap and trying to catch Patrick.
Oh, yeah. I was so worried that we were going to do another lap because I was so low on fuel. And that's why I was lagging behind, because I was trying to save as much as I could there. But as soon as I saw the white flag, it was go time. And I just caught Patrick, and I hope we gave a good show on that last lap.
Well, for the most part here for today, by the way, you did certainly give a fantastic show on that last lap. The most part today, it was pretty a mistake-free day. I would say that you probably had the most fewest errors out of everybody, that at least in that top 4 pack that we were watching. Now, what does it take to run clean here at Zolder?
I think in Zolder, the most important part is to just keep your wings, your front wing. It's so easy to mess up your front wing. Actually, by the end of the race, my front wing was gone. And yeah, you just need to be careful with all the chicanes. It's a lot of chicanes here, and a lot of high curves.
Well, I guess in that case, we will just have to see how you do here in 2 weeks. You going to be able to repeat the podium?
Well, I hope so. Let's see.
All right. Well, hey, Diego, appreciate you, and a good run here today, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Congrats to Patrick and to Hero. Great recovery drive. See ya.
And now we'll bring in Johan Vanderbilt. You heard Diego's final comments there about Aero Num and his great recovery drive. Johan Vanderbilt, you were part of that great recovery from Num. Could not keep him behind you, huh?
No, but I didn't expect that, to be honest. When he spun out at the chicane, I knew that at one point in the race he would catch up. And I wanted to put a fight up to him, but I was on so many incident points, and I was just afraid to DQ myself. So I let him pass and try to stay in his draft to beat Joost for P4.
Where were you getting the incident points from? It wasn't from contact. Is this from cutting the course?
Yeah. This track, if you like in the Skippy, you have to be like completely on the limit all the time, especially on this track, to be quick, because the draft isn't very helpful compared to other tracks. So because of that, you score so many more incident points than you normally do. And I kind of calculated for myself, like every so many laps I can score 1 incident point, and I calculated it right in the end because I finished with 19. But it's basically every corner you just run wide so easily.
Well, we appreciate you risking being under the GSRC spotlighted driver. You survived a 4th place finish. Might be our best finish from a spotlighted driver. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.
Johan Vanderbilt comes home in 4th and survives the glare of the GSRC spotlight. All right, that's going to do it for us here at the Global Sim Racing Channel. It's time to thank everybody that makes this possible. First off, the Absolute Beginner League and the Formula Neagle for contracting with GSRC to broadcast. We thank the companies, equipment, and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast. The original music that gives every GSRC broadcast that unique flavor and feel is thanks to Eric Eckelm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact each of them.
And Formula Neagle is going to return here in just 2 weeks, 18th of March at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pez. GSRC will be there to bring you all the action, and of course, we hope you join us. Sliding across your screen now are some upcoming broadcasts, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook /Global Sim Racing Channel. While you're at it, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe by simply hitting this button on YouTube channel.
Finally, on behalf of the man whose voice you just heard, Adam Young, our director Joe Peak, and our camera artist Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.